Hello, you lovely people. I thought I'd make this video about buying a used car in the Philippines. Now, of course, you're taking a risk, like you are in any country buying a used car, but I think more so here in the Philippines. And the reason for this is Filipinos don't really take care of the things that they've got. And that's why a lot of people will tell you, when you buy a motorcycle here, don't buy a used motorcycle. And that's generally because they just tear the ass out of everything. Nothing is maintained, people. Nothing is maintained. So sometimes you can chuck good money after bad. Now with this car here that I've got, and I've had this for over a year now, and I've done a lot of work to this car, and the Filipino that I bought it from wasn't exactly honest. Of course he wasn't honest, but he seemed like a trusting guy. He had a good job for the government, and like I said, he seemed like a trusting sort of a guy. So I gave him the money that he was asking for this. I didn't even knock him down really, because I thought it was still a good buy for a second-hand, Suzuki DA62, which is what this is, 4x4. Now, when I test drove it, yes, there was a bit of knocking, which is, it's not a new vehicle, people. But over the course of the months that I had this in the very beginning, many things were going wrong. Many things. Now, I've had the steering changed on this twice now, because the first one was stolen when I took it into a garage. And I took it into the garage not to have that done. It was a totally different job that I took it into. It wasn't even a garage. It was like one of these mechanics here that work from a house. That they've got a few tools and they have quite a lot of customers. So you think, right, I'll go there. So not only do you get ripped off when you're buying a second-hand car here, when you go and get the repairs done, you can also get ripped off there, and they can change parts like they do in cell phones here and everything like that. And it does go on, people, it does. So with this, I've been doing this over the weekend. I made a video yesterday, but you didn't see me over the weekend because I was doing this. I will show you what I've done, okay? So people, this is what I did over the weekend. I've changed the lower suspension arms, both sides. And I did the racking ends on the steering, and I did the track rod ends on both sides, obviously. You can't do one side without the other, right? Now, there's still a banging. There's still a banging. So, it's this drive shaft here, and it is in the differential. It's in the differential, people. It's the differential side carrier bearing that needs replacing, because you can grab hold of the CV joint on the inner CV joint, and it moves up and down. It's moving inside the diff, inside the differential. So I've got to do that, and I've also done the bearings on the front, the front wheel bearings. Now this is what I want to talk to you about, people. I don't know the boxes now. The box has been thrown out. My wife's thrown it out. I wanted to keep that box. I bought some bearings, okay, from Shopee. And meant to be Koyo bearings, Japanese. And I got them delivered. And I looked at them and they looked good. And I thought, I don't know, these just seem a bit cheap to be genuine Koyo bearings. So I downloaded the scanner from the World Bearing Checker, and of course they fake. So I sent them back, and this is the thing as well, people. I thought I had the box here. I was going to show you. The box looked kosher, people. Oh, here. No, it's not. It even had the hologram on the box. It looked really kosher, people, really. But I just thought they're just too cheap. So I thought I'd do a check, and I was disappointed. So when you're buying parts for your cars here as well, understand that if you're getting them from Shopee, the chances are they are very, very cheap aftermarket parts that have been made in China. Now, I went to the shop in Dipolog and I bought the real Koyo bearings, and they were 1,500 pesos each. I needed two of them, one either side. And I did a check on the barcode, and yeah, they were genuine. But that, I think I paid 600 for the bent ones each, and I think that's what made me think, are they real or not? But anyway, I just sent them back to the supplier on Shopee. So people, listen, buying a second-hand car, especially if it's not from a reputable dealer, you're taking a chance. You're taking a big chance. I've had the steering changed on this. I've had so many things. I've had welding done on the chassis. Not a lot, but I just wanted it all done. And like I said, the guy that I bought it off said, yes, he said, yeah, it's a great thing. These people selling vegetables, yeah. I'll just see my wife. So, people, you're taking a big chance. But the thing was, I didn't want to buy anything, like a new car and spend out all that money on a new car, because you're putting yourself in debt, aren't you? You're pushing your limits. So you've got that to think about. Do you want a new car? And also, people, you've got to think about this: parts. Now, the reason I got that Suzuki there was because there are many of them here on the island of Mindanao, in Cebu. There are so many of these, so the parts are quite readily available, and you can get like a lot of their surplus parts, what they ship in. But it's still a pain in the ass, it's still costing you money, and it's still the inconvenience of fixing. Now I do like a lot. I've been doing this work myself on here. I haven't been doing videos of the work, people, because it's very difficult for me to video and do the work on here. I mean, if my wife was a little bit better with a camera, she'd probably do it. But we've got Zach, you see, so she's always continuously monitoring Zach, and got Zach because he's being very restless at the moment. He's at that 6 weeks old stage, he's getting very, very inquisitive, and at 6 weeks he's looking around now, and he's not sleeping much, to be honest with you, and he's got snot, so I couldn't really ask my wife to hold the camera. But anyway, you've got to watch out for these things. You've got to watch out for bent people who are selling these vehicles here. If I was to buy another one of these, which I would buy another one of these, I wouldn't buy it from a Filipino who's just like in a house here. I would go to these places, these surplus places, where they ship them over as a cut and shut. They cut and shut here. It's not illegal. So they ship them over, and then they cut the bodies off by the back wheel arches and ship them over, and then they re-weld them when they're here, and they repaint them and do this and do that. And I don't know what else they do, but they say they change all the bushes and this, but they don't. Don't believe that for one moment, because my neighbor, he bought one. I think he paid about 230,000, 240,000 pesos for it, and it's the model up from this one. This is the DA64. This is the DA62. And this is the turbo model as well. And there's just so much gone wrong with that. The exhaust was, he's had to have a new exhaust. He's had to change the bushes. He's had to do this and do that. And the electric window stopped working. So you have to think about these things. Is it worth getting a second-hand one like this? Or are you going to go and buy a new one from a dealer? Well, yes, of course, if you get a new one from a dealer, it's brand new. It's probably not going to give you any problems for a long time to come. But they're expensive. They're damned expensive. And also here, when you buy second-hand cars, I've seen some proper crap. Where back in the UK, they would be scrapped. But here, they have a value. Everything has a value here. Like this, this in the UK. If I'd have bought that in the UK, I don't know what I'd have paid for it, but I would have paid nowhere near the amount I paid for it here. Nowhere near. In fact, they would probably give me it, But everything has a value here. So be careful buying parts. If you're going to buy the parts, people, try not to get them on Shopee, because they say they're genuine parts, and they're not. And yes, if you're happy fitting a Chinese cheap bearing or a Chinese cheap, like a low suspension arm or a bearing for your differential, which I've got to get one for this, and I've sourced it from Dipolog, and again, I think the bearing is a 6207, and that's the part number 6207. On Shopee, I can get them for like 200 pesos, right? In the shop, the shop where they are genuine Koyo, they're like 2,000 pesos. So there you go. Do I want to? Because that's quite a big job taking out that diff. For me, anyway. Because I haven't got ramps or anything like that, so I don't want to be doing it twice. I don't want to be taking out that differential, fitting the bearings, and then 3 months down the line, it's gone again. And also, you got to think as well, people. When the vans get this old, things do go wrong on them, and it normally happens in a line, like it's like a domino effect, Something will happen, then you get that fixed, something else will happen, something else will happen. So what I've done with this, I'm changing all the bearings. I'm changing all of the bushings. Well, I've done most of them. I've only got the back bushings to do now. And rather than buy the bushings, just buy the whole part, people. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's less fannying on rather than taking a bushing out and trying to press one back in and stuff. I'll just buy the part and just fit the damn part on it. But when I take this diff out, because it's only one side that's gone, I will replace the pinion bushing, which is the tapered bushing on the back that connects to the prop shaft for the four-wheel drive, and I will replace both sides of the side carrier bushings. I will do that. I'll do both of them, and then it's done. It's done. What else have I had done? I think it's just the brakes, but that's just wear and tear. And again, when I went to buy brake pads here for the front, now online they were like 200 pesos or something stupid like that, and I thought, nah, you're putting yourself in. I've got a family. I'm not. No. And they said genuine, they not. And I went to the shop here that specialises in these, and I think they're about 1,200 pesos. That's okay. I don't mind paying the extra for genuine parts. And of course, these parts, if it's not aftermarket, if it's genuine parts, they have a hologram generally, and you can scan the hologram. It'll say illegal, or it'll say a kosher product. It's genuine. And I do that now. Even when I go to Dipolog and I buy the parts, I always scan them before And the guy in the shop, when I bought the bearing for that, the genuine bearing, he didn't know about that. And I said, yeah. I said, so then he downloaded the app on his phone. So when he buys the stock, he can check them all. But he's a genuine. It's worth buying from a reputable garage, I think. Secondhand or whatever. Don't buy from someone on the street like I virtually did when I bought this damn thing. But I've spent a bit of money on it. The engine is good, thank goodness. The engine is good. Oh, the clutch, I had to change the clutch. After about a month, I changed the clutch because it had a noise on the release bearing. The thrust bearing, as we call it in the UK, the release bearing. The pressure plate release bearing. So I didn't do that. I've got these two guys to do it from up the road here, and they were online as mobile mechanics. Oh, God. Well, one couldn't see. The boss couldn't see. He couldn't see one foot in front of him. He's blind. But I didn't know this at first. And he was like doing everything by touch. And I think it was his son-in-law, I think. He was doing the work and he was telling him what to do. And I said to me, I think he's blind, that bloke. And I said, he's doing me clutch. And like I asked his son-in-law, I said, is he blind? He says, no, he's not like blind properly. But he says he can't see very far. I thought, oh, here we go. And I paid top money for that. I paid top, but they did a good job. It was done. But they weren't going to, I forget what that bearing's called. Where the gearbox spindle goes into, the spindle bush. They weren't going to change. I said, no, I want that changed as well. So when I bought the clutch kit, everything was in there, but that spindle bearing. So I had to go, to Dipperlug and buy the spindle bearing. But they weren't, they weren't going to change that. I said, well, everything's off. And they didn't have, like a clutch aligning kit. And I thought, oh, God almighty. So they were just going to try and think that it's there properly, trying to line the gearbox up, the spindle. And of course, they were up and down, moving the clutch. I said, look, I'll go and buy a clutch aligning kit. They're only about 300 or 400 pesos in Dipperlug. So I did. I went there and I got one. And yeah, straight in. They aligned it, and the gearbox went straight in. But it's just, I don't know. It can be damn frustrating, people. But that's it anyway. Buying used cars, buying new cars, pre-loved, whatever you want to call them. Just think about it. Go to reputable dealers. Go to these surplus places where they do, they ship them in, they weld them back together, and blah 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 blah. But even then, people, you're still taking a chance, because they don't do what they say they're going to do. Like change the bushes and the brakes and this and that and whatnot. They don't. They don't change the CV boots if they split, or they hanging off from the drive shafts, or the axles as they call them here. So it's food for thought, people. Food for thought. Anyway, people, listen, I'm over and out, and take care. Whatever you're doing, do it well, or try and do it well. God bless you all. Bye bye.